Well, I can't talk about recent years, but definitely it's important and people should pay attention to it because, well, sustainability in IT is important. IT is a major contributor to global carbon emissions. And we want to help at least to reduce that portion of it, at least a bit. And people, well, they like the topic and they're interested generally, but at the end what makes them buy things is like they will also save costs because efficient stuff emits less but also costs less. Yeah, we are consultancy, so we build tools that will give you a baseline on not just your Kubernetes, but also Kubernetes workload, plus the whole cloud account and workload. And from there on, we can help you with multiple activities like assessment, deep dives, stuff like this to reduce through optimization your emissions. Like if you have a Kubernetes cluster, the average utilization of such clusters are somewhere in the 20-25%. So the easiest would be just to get the utilization up by reducing the amount of nodes or different node sizes, this kind of stuff. And we actually help customers to do the work, do the heavy lifting. We recently worked with someone, and then we checked with our tooling the baseline, and then we, through optimization of resource utilization, like getting that up with horizontal pod autoscaler, node autoscaler, proper limits and requests and limits, we decrease the carbon emissions of that cluster by 50% and the cost by 28, 29, something like that. So yeah, we help through tooling and actually doing. Well, you should only use resources where they are required, so don't build stuff that has no value for your customers. So, I mean, everything that is running somewhere consumes energy, but if no one is requiring it, you shouldn't have built it in the first place. Then it's not, don't over-provision, don't use the resources you have appropriate, like 80% plus, stuff like this. Software, yeah, do housekeeping. It's not throwing resources at problem. If you have a problem that is about scalability, or you from release to release require more resources, pay attention to it, do housekeeping on your software to reduce the actual usage of whatever you're using. Well, we analyze what you would have. So we set a baseline together, and then we work with engineering teams, software development teams, whatever teams on structure you have, to look at what you are doing and how you are doing it, and then help you to optimize processes and the practice itself, so how you actually do it. And installation, configuration, all of that, life cycle, non-required environments, shutting down test systems overnight. So all kind of these things that might sound obvious, but basically almost no one is doing it or practicing it, but they have a significant impact. Also weekends, if you are kind of local company, not a global one where you don't have 24/7 need for systems, shut them down. When you don't need something, shut it down. It saves money when you're running on cloud, and it saves energy. Yes, we have two. One is quite obvious CO2 emission. So like we measure the grams or kilograms or tons per whatever it is of your infrastructure. And then we use something that comes from the Green Software Foundation. It's called software carbon intensity, that uses also the CO2 emissions, but then you are able to attribute it to a process, to a whole application, and then you have an index, and that index is then also linked to, for example, 10 requests per second would be a SCI index of X, and you could then use that in your monitoring system as an SLO. And if things go up or down, you can get alerted on, especially if it goes up, then you know for potentially your last deployment made matters worse, so we can look at it. What's the benefit of the whole thing is it's not just about carbon. If you optimize your code base, if you optimize your infra, they tend to be more reliable and of course cheaper, but it's reliability, maintainability, all that just becomes easier.